This is an E-Ink phone. And this. And this. Now, on one hand, you have regular smartphones. They do it all, but they're addicting, and they farm your data. On the other hand, you have dumb phones that protect your eyes, attention, and your data. And everyone says, this is amazing, except I need this app or that app. So what if there was a phone that had an E-Ink screen with all of the normal apps without being distracting? This is the Hibreak Pro by Bigme, a smartphone that can do it all, but you won't want to scroll.
Let's look at key features, then talk about hardware, software, performance, the display, all of it. This is a full smartphone with a 6.13-inch E-Ink screen. Now, my favorite part is that there is a changing frames per second that you can set individually for every single app, and it saves it for that app. You're running Android 14, so you've got the right and left drag down menus. Now it's running on a MediaTek Dimensity 1080 with 8 gig of RAM. So all the things you're going to want to use it for, it's absolutely able to do. It's also got 256 gig of storage with no way to put in a micro SD card. Now it also has NFC, a fingerprint sensor, 2 extra buttons you can program however you'd like, a 20 megapixel rear camera, a 5 megapixel front camera, both can shoot video and all on an E-Ink screen. Let's take a look around the device at the hardware. Now on the front side, you've got the screen, the front camera, and a speaker up there. And on the right side, you've got your fingerprint sensor with the volume up and down buttons. On the back, it's completely clear and smooth, besides for the camera and the flashlight. On the left side, you've got 2 more buttons here that you can program to do different things, whether you press them once, double tap them, or hold them down. I've got mine set to do things like turn on the camera with a double tap, or even free up memory if my phone starts slowing down. On the top side, you've got a microphone and the infrared. On the bottom, you've got a speaker, USB-C, SIM slot, and a microphone. Now, this SIM slot is pretty standard. It just fits a single SIM card, nothing else. One of the things mentioned as a downside with the display is this white halo of light around the white Hibreak Pro. That's not a problem on the black one. I've got no issues with the light on the side, and the display itself is really sharp and crisp with minimal ghosting. Now, one of the biggest factors on a phone, whether you love it or hate it, is social media. And this does have social media, but kind of. Because while it's got social media options, scrolling on a black and white screen actually isn't that addicting. I thought that it would be. It's really not. It's not enjoyable. Now, of course, you can use it in a pinch to send or receive posts that you want to show your friends. But I have an issue with smartphone addiction, and this hasn't brought me back into it. Now, what is really cool is those multiple E-Ink modes, and I want to try a few different ones, both with video and with reading. And let's start with the reading. If we bring ourselves into something like Kindle and we set our E-Ink mode as magazine or comic, we're going to get a kind of Kindle experience here. It's going to be slow, but it's going to be crisp with no ghosting. If I switched this up to something like video or even custom, where we can choose how quickly the screen is moving, let's go to extreme, then the screen acts incredibly quick. You see it's moving a lot faster than it was in Kindle mode. You're going to get a little bit more ghosting. You can also set it though so that when you swipe up from the bottom right side, it's going to refresh as many times as you need it to. Video here is the same thing. On extreme mode, you absolutely can watch. You just probably won't be wildly distracted by it. If we set the E-Ink here to something like magazine mode, then we see it constantly refreshing. And at this point, I would call it unwatchable. So optimizing the E-Ink for each app individually the way you like it is a really cool feature and makes everything pretty usable. Nice to have the magazine mode when we want to read, nice to have extreme mode clearly when we want to watch videos. As for battery life, it completely depends on whether or not you have the screen light on. So right now I have the screen light off with the lights out mode. Something I like a lot is that they have presets here, or you can set your own with warm and cold light, or a mix of both. When lights are out, you're going to get a few days of use if you're not using it constantly. So there's not a lot of battery anxiety. It's kind of like a modern smartphone. When the light is on, then you're going to notice the battery go down much quicker. You've got probably a day of normal use. It might last through the day and the night, but then the following day, it'll definitely die on you. But that all depends on how much you've got the phone on and you're using it. The whole idea here is not to use it too much while still having access to the apps you need. The auto mode is pretty wild. It does a really good job, but it's incredibly sensitive. Even just moving my hand over, you can see how wildly it's changing. Now, if ever there was a way to optimize an e-ink phone, Bigme's done a phenomenal job with all these little side tools they give you. Like one press of the speed up button, and it frees up a ton of memory, or it tells me in my task manager how many gig of RAM I'm using and what I've got left, and I can clear all my apps with the tap of a button to free that up. It also comes with its own suite of tools, like the side buttons are really handy and you can program them for e-ink specific things, like turning pages on your Kindle. Bigme also gives you their own app store and their own version of ChatGPT, cleverly called Bigme GPT, which can generate photos or just respond to you. They've got a translator, their own map, and the one I find really impressive is the voice to text, because it can record your voice, transcribe it, but not just live. You can also upload audio files and have them transcribed. And that's pretty cool. That's a feature you usually need to get a paid app online for. Now, one of the things people talk about a lot with the dumb phones is the lack of a good navigation app. So of course we had to turn on the maps and go to our e-ink center and set it to extreme so it works almost like a normal display. We also have settings for contrast and text enhancement here, and I find those really to be crucial on the map. If I take those away, you'll notice these side streets are so dim and almost unviewable. If I turn those all the way up, you can even see in the background just how much clearer things get, and then we can see it almost like a map. Our big downside here is that we can't see color. So if you're reliant on traffic, that's going to be hard to figure out where it starts and ends. The red and green street view just doesn't work, but the map certainly does. You'll be able to navigate with this. I navigated probably a 45 to 50 minute trip with it and didn't have a single issue. And by the way, talking about battery life, that 45 to 50 minute trip, I did have the light on the screen. I didn't have it plugged in. I had the map going the whole time and a phone call going the whole time. And it took about 20 to 25% of my battery. So that's close to an hour of extreme usage. Another big deal here is that the camera shoots photo and video with a back and front camera. So let's test all four of those out. I'll take a photo of myself with the front camera right here and now, and then a video from the front camera. This is what the front camera looks like. Really surprising for an e-ink screen. Now, let's stop that, flip it around, and look at the back camera. Same exact deal here. I'm going to take a picture of myself using the side buttons, and then start a video here. This is what the video looks like from the back camera. Now, I don't mean to complain with video on an e-ink phone. It's ridiculous already. But two of the issues I do have with it are the colors are pretty extreme. It looks very saturated. And then the other one is it's hard sometimes to see when it's in focus. I've taken some photos of my wife and son, and they've been blurry, which is a huge disappointment. But again, it's a camera on an e-ink phone, and it's better than any of the other ones out there, especially because it has a flash. Now, texting and calling is a pretty pleasant experience here, especially since we can download anything from the App Store. I can download Gboard and have my normal keyboard here. It's really responsive. this is a test and it comes out perfect. I've also got the swipe feature that I love and use all the time. I didn't have it on my other e-ink phones. It is on this one. The other benefit, of course, is that you can turn it on its side and do some horizontal, two-handed typing or swiping. Now, calls also sound crystal clear, and that's because the speakers are really not bad and the service wasn't bad. As an example here, let me play a song and get my microphone close to it.
Mountains are magnets and you are the steel. The dangerous peaks and the heady thin air, beckoning, calling and waving their hands, saying, come on boys, come further up, further in.
Now, of course, with any device, there are a couple of bad things or things that need improving. So let's talk about them. First one is safety. Bigme had a couple of safety issues with a weird send and response to a domain that had a safety malware issue in the past, and people were getting notifications from their IP providers that there was a bad device on their IP. It was really messy. Bigme explained and said it had to do with their facial recognition. They fixed it in an update, and now, as I understand it, it just kind of lies dormant down there. Some people really aren't worried. Some people just don't want their banking apps on it, and I think that that's fair. Second issue is notifications don't always pop up. Some of the apps here, no matter what settings I changed, I had to actually open the app to see the notifications or see that I missed something. Not every app, but some apps like Signal. And then finally, a lot of the outlines are gone here. No matter what we adjust for the e-ink settings, you can see down here there aren't lines between different things. And when you're looking at notifications, that doesn't seem like such a bad thing. But there are some sites with forms or different things to fill out that I've just completely missed, because you'd be surprised how much a box around something changes its visibility. But the biggest question is why? Why would you get this at all in the first place? Well, it's an awesome device if you're wanting access to everything without being distracted by it. A ton of people, myself included, say that when they pull it out, they find themselves more pulled to actually open a book and read it like a Kindle than to scroll social media. And I fully, completely agree. So this is the solution if you're looking for an e-ink phone gentle on the eyes without having to miss out on apps. That's phenomenal. I also find it to be a jack of all trades, master of none. And what I mean by that is it's an e-ink device, but it's not doing disconnecting. It's not doing dumb phone nearly as well as the others because it's not one. It's also a smart device, but it does that really sluggishly with the e-ink, and it makes you wish it were just a little bit faster like a smartphone. So it does both of those things, but each of those specialized devices, like a dumb phone, a true regular smartphone, are going to do those things better. If you just don't want to choose between those two, this is the perfect device for you. It's down in the description. Highly recommend it.